Earth year equals 18 years on Rhea. Thousands of humans fleeing cold and hunger travel through the gate to the new planet, but most people are still forced to remain on Earth when Earth's refugees trying to sneak onto Rhea, however not far from the destination. The ship he's on is attacked and he along with his AI named Edison is forced to survive in a rescue capsule when there are only a few hours of oxygen left. Edison detects a nearby spacecraft called the Nissa which does not respond to haze. Edison suggests flying over to it, but that will require a sharp acceleration that is extremely harmful to the human body. Fortunately Bran has a drug, the heart. He realizes he has no other choice and starts the countdown. The capsule docks with the ship reeling from the extreme G-load. Bran blacks out and recalls the funeral ceremony. They return to the grandfather's house where he's seeing off a neighbor who's complaining about hunger since nothing grows on their farm anymore. The old man feels sorry for the woman and gives her a box of canned food. When she leaves he suggests they flee before the neighbor has a chance to share what she's learned, but the old man refuses. In the present Bran moves into the ship and activates Edison. They walk through the nearest. They could have possibly been fighting over out here in space. Soon he sees a wall covered with photographs of the crew and remembers humans. Before long Bran discovers supplies of food and medicine, but then Edison warns him of rising radiation and Bran sees a woman aiming a beam pistol at him. She accuses him of killing the crew, though Bran explains that he has only just docked. Outraged, the woman insists that Reens deliver supplies before she fires. However, the woman knows the ship better and ambushes him in another quarter, knocking him down. Bran shoves her away again and flees. He manages to reach the med bay and then lock the doors right in front of his pursuer's face. He takes a medicine and notices a pod containing the body of one of the crew members and waits for her to enter. He knocks her out with a blow to the head and then leaves. She quickly comes to and activates the fire suppression system which begin removing oxygen. When his pursuer appears again wearing a mask, the two engage in a fight, and though Bran is weakened he once again disables the woman while Edison restores the air supply, leaving the unconscious Ran on the floor. Bran heads to the bridge to prepare Edison to interface with the ship's AI. However, Edison suddenly reports that the Reens are opposed to artificial intelligence, blaming it for Earth's demise, so there is no AI on the ship at all and in nearly the ship's control system. Suddenly the woman, now recovered, begins pounding on the door, forbidding him to press the glowing area on the control screen, but Bran doesn't intend to listen to her. He doesn't understand why Rans get to decide who is allowed to live on. For some reason Rans feel justified in shooting down ships and denying their own kind access to the shared planet, wanting to spite the and he presses the button. An alarm sounds, and the woman sinks to her knees in disbelief that he actually did it. Edison voices his disapproval of Bran's impulsive action, warning that the outcome will be disastrous. The very next moment, increased gravity slams Bran field and digs up a box containing the money he earned and saved so his daughter could leave for RIA. Riley refuses to abandon her relatives, but Bran and her grandfather see themselves as too old to start a new life. While he grabs a weapon in the present, Bran comes to while Edison explains that the ship's systems were deliberate. He actually did it. Edison voices his disapproval of Bran's impulsive action, warning that the outcome will be disastrous. The very next moment, increased gravity slams Bran field and digs up a box containing the money he earned and saved so his daughter could leave for RIA. Riley refuses to abandon her relatives, but Bran and her grandfather see themselves as too old to start a new life. While he grabs a weapon in the present, Bran comes to while Edison explains that the ship's systems were deliberate. They reach the beacon. The pull of a planetoid will alter their trajectory and they'll inevitably collide with the refugee station, killing hundreds more people. Bran realizes he can't handle this problem alone, but as soon as he opens the door the woman lunges at him. He forces her into a chair and accuses her in the reins of staging this accident to kill refugees. She believes it was Earthlings who caused it. She explains that the Nissa was carrying provisions to the Earthling station, but during an inspection an undeclared cargo was discovered on board. While that was being investigated she went to sleep. She woke to gunfire. The dying captain told her he had everything. Once again Bran insists he docked only after the incident occurred. He recalls the man in the medbay pod whom she calls Decker. Maybe he killed the crew before. The woman's name is Osha. Bran notices a bracelet on her wrist like those worn by criminals. Survive, they have to work together. The AI explains that the ship is flying through a cluster of space debris. Bran, unable to restrain himself, mentions that these are the wreckage of Earth ships shot down by Reens, but Edison won't let another argument erupt. Osha will there's a gaping breach and disconnect the engines to allow for eventual navigation. At the same time Bran must turn the necessary lever from inside. Osha leaves, sending a contemptuous gesture in the At this point Decker regains consciousness and climbs out of the medical pod. Osha is just disconnecting the first engine when Bran warns her that there's a lot of debris ahead and that the breach is quite large. They start working on the second engine when Osha's oxygen runs out. Bran resuscitates her later. Edison explains that they'll need to simultaneously take control of the engines and operate in sync. The pair grabs the joysticks. The ship collapse under the G-forces. They have to get up again, though it's not over yet. After the third turn, Bran nearly loses consciousness. Osha snaps his dislocated arm back into place and he passes out from the pain. He's back in the past when their neighbors arrive at his father-in-law's house. To the old man revealed, the grandfather demands they leave, but the neighbor can't. His family is starving, and his parents have died. To make them more cooperative, the neighbor orders where she's hiding the old man, and Bran open fire, killing them. Riley darts out only to see that the neighbor's wife is armed too and shoots in her direction. A wounded Bran kills the woman. Back in the present, Osha notices a photo of Riley and Bran admits he lost his daughter unexpectedly. Her family, the Rhea government, did not appreciate their attempts to help Earthlings. She doesn't understand the politics, but many Reans don't share the belief that Earthlings are bad and should be kept from coming. Edison reminds him that to survive they still need to work. Now Bran must enter the navigation bay and remove the burned out boards. The problem is it's 40 degrees in there. Bran puts on his suit and Osha it, recalling Rhea where it's always warm, but then again Earth used to be warm too. Bran steps out into the bitter cold and begins looking for the burned boards. Meanwhile, Decker smashes one of the switches. Osha notices this and goes into the corridor. She's shocked by his. He's also from the group of migrants. Decker confesses he was given no choice. The Reans took his children and threatened to kill them if he didn't destroy the station. If it's a neat solution, an Earthling kills his own people, but first he has to kill Osha. While this is happening, Bran finishes his work and asks Osha to let him back on the ship, but Osha is busy fighting for her life. Freezing, Bran tries to escape through another exit. The grate and collapses into the quarter where Osha knocks Decker out and rushes to help Bran, placing him in a medical capsule. Edison reports that they succeeded. Once they reboot the system, the ship's controls will be restored. The capsule. Osha tells him everything she learned from Decker. Bran suggests showing this video to the Reans so that the government will have to explain itself. But first they must finish the job. Meanwhile, Decker comes to again. Edison warns them about a major G-force. The control system, which can be revived by disconnecting one of the wires on the console. The trouble is Edison doesn't know which one, so they'll have to experiment. While Osha does that, Bran finds not only the drug but also a large bomb. He runs to the bridge, but Decker hits him over the head. Osha is left with two wires, one of which belongs to the life support system, which takes 3 minutes to reboot. This means she'll have to stop. Decker apologizes to Bran but insists he'll do anything to save his family. Suddenly the G-forces increase again. Bran is thrown back to the day he found Riley mortally wounded, and the girl in her final moments gave him Edison, which she had developed herself. She made him promise he would leave Earth in the present. Edison gives Osha final heads to help Osha, fighting Decker along the way, and ultimately defeating him with the last of his strength. He reaches the bridge in time to give Osha the anti-G-force drug. He remembers the day of Riley's funeral when his father-in-law urged him to fulfill the promise he made to her. Perhaps he really could change something in this world. That was when he activated Edison. In the present, Osha and Bran come to as Edison's ship. They must restart all systems. That means Edison will reset to factory settings. Bran can't accept this, but Edison sees no other option. He has already uploaded